writing this, I'm always going to recommend that you start with something like the new PY program. This is going to have to exist in the 16 Scrambler directory because that's where the test for this is. I'm going to use new PY, and this is going to be called scrambler.py. I can do make test real quick if I want, just to see how things are going. I have named the file correctly. The program does respond to usage. Of course, it's the wrong usage. And then, of course, it's failing on the first test. So let's see what our new program looks like. Let's see, I'm going to open the file browser here, go into the 16 Scrambler directory, and let's see what we have. Okay, so we're going to change this already. Let's see. Let's change the description to be scramble words in text. Be fine. We're going to get some sort of text. We don't know right now if it's going to be an input name or file handle. It's going to be just input text or the name of a file that we're going to read. So I'll call this input text or file. And the only other argument that we're going to accept is going to be an integer argument for a seed. Short flag is going to be called -s. The long flag is --seed. I'll say this is a random seed value. It can be any random, any integer value is fine. It doesn't really matter. The default will be none though, so that if nothing is provided, it'll be the same as not providing it at all. And so when we set the random seed to that default value, it'll be like as if they didn't provide a value. So we've seen this pattern before here, that we're going to get the args. We need to return the args. And the reason we're going to do that is because if os.path is file, let's see, the args.text, then we're going to set args.text equal to opening args.text and reading that and then stripping off the any trailing white space. This is something that we've seen several times, so that shouldn't be a surprise. I always like to get started just by printing something just to make sure that my program works and does something useful. So I'll just print args.text and let's see if it works. Let's run the scrambler with foo from the command line. Great. Let's give it an input file like the fox, and great. So it handles text from both the command line and from an input file. So now we have something. And one of the other things that we're going to need to do right away is we're going to be using the random module. So we're going to need to import the random. I'll go ahead add this. I for some reason like to put mine in alphabetical order, but that's not necessary. And I'm going to say random seed is equal to args.seed. And again, remembering that the default value of that is none, so it's just like not even setting the seed. But if something is provided, then the random seed will be set, so that's really handy. We're not going to be printing args.text though. Just right away, what we want to do, and I mentioned this in the intro, is that we need to preserve the line structure, the overall structure of the input text. So rather than printing all of that, I would like to say for line in args.text.split line. So what that's going to do is, just like it says, it's going to split the text on what looks like lines. And so the input text here is going to be using a new line, which is common in Unix. If you're generating files on a Windows machine, it's going to use a slightly different new line ending, a character return line feed usually. But Python will just look at both of those as some sort of a line ending. So it'll handle that either way. So instead of printing the whole of text, I just want to print each line. And let's use a multi-line input then, just to make sure that looks okay. It would have looked fine too if we just said print args.text because it would have printed the new lines, but here I want to just prove to myself that yes, I'm handling this one line at a time. So that pretty much gets us started with the program. It's handling the correct parameters, and it's setting the random seed, and it's reading the input file or the input text line by line. So where we're going to go from here is that we need to figure out how to break the text into both lines and then words, and that's what we'll talk about next.